Welcome back to Durham Cathedral's online Quiet Day as we enter together into the season of Lent. My name's Charlie Allen. I'm one of the Canons here at the Cathedral, and it is a delight and a privilege to be with you during this quiet day. These reflections seek to provide food for the journey, something to ponder as we respond to the invitation at the heart of this holy time. Jesus spent these 40 days in the wilderness, preparing to begin his ministry. We spend these days deepening our life as disciples as we prepare to enter the intensity of Holy Week. Bishop John spoke compellingly this morning in our first reflection about love, God's abundant love for us, and our vocation to respond to that love. And this afternoon, I'd like to reflect with you on the gift of blessing. And in order to do so, we need to return to the very beginning, which, as Julie Andrews so tunefully reminded us in The Sound of Music, is a very good place to start. And that beginning is the book of Genesis. If you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. Don't panic, I'm not going to read it all to you, just a few verses. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a dome in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." So God made the dome and separated the waters that were under the dome from the waters that were above the dome. And it was so. God called the dome sky, and there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth put forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees of every kind on earth that bear fruit with the seed in it." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed of every kind, and trees of every kind bearing fruit with the seed in it. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the dome of the sky to separate the day from the night, and to let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be lights in the dome of the sky to give light upon the earth." And it was so. God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. God set them in the dome of the sky to give light upon the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the dome of the sky." So God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moves of every kind, with which the waters swarm, and every winged bird of every kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures of every kind, cattle and creeping things, and wild animals of the earth of every kind." And it was so. God made the wild animals of the earth of every kind, and everything that creeps upon the ground of every kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the wild animals of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them. And God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth." God said, "See, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. Have you noticed the recurring theme? Here we are immersed in the story of creation, and God saw that it was good. 5 times we find that observation in the creation narrative. And then after the 6th day, we are told that indeed it was very good. Many theologians have described this as original blessing, a joy and wonder at the heart of life itself, God's delight in all that he has made. And it contrasts so completely with those who focus primarily on the 3rd chapter of the book of Genesis and talk about the problem of original sin, the story of Adam and Eve and the serpent and the apple. A focus that leaves us rather immersed in doom and despair, when our very being calls us back to that which went before, the goodness and blessing at the heart of life itself. Pelagius, one of the early Christian Celtic writers, spoke rather compellingly about all this, challenging his contemporary Augustine, who talked a lot more about original sin than he did about original blessing. Pelagius saw the goodness of creation as a revelation of God's very being, and he celebrated the essential goodness of humanity, its capacity to glimpse the shafts of divine light that penetrate the thin veil dividing earth and heaven. He saw the image of God in every newborn child and firmly believed that it existed at the heart of each and every person. Even if an individual had obscured it, it longed to rise to the surface once more. For Pelagius, the work of life was about learning to abide in the goodness of that original blessing and having the courage to seek to get back to it when we lose our way in the complexities of life. As we ponder how to journey well in these days of Lent, it seems to me that we might be wise to listen to his voice echoing across the centuries, for we so easily forget who we are, and so even need to remind ourselves of who we are created to be. The essential work of Lent, perhaps, is to recognize and recover the divine image in ourselves and in creation. Several years ago, I found myself in the Holy Land, wading into the River Jordan to renew the promises made at my baptism. As I stood in the murky water, I looked around me. noting the soldiers with guns upon the opposite bank, somehow symbolizing the brokenness that occurs when we forget our original blessing. And there I was sprinkled with water, recalling who I was called to be, who I was created to be, and understanding afresh that there was always a way back when I lost my way or fell short of what I should and could be. I emerged from the experience renewed and refreshed. Lent is an opportunity for each of us to be renewed and refreshed on that same way of faith, to recover that sense of original blessing, the divine image within us, to be immersed once more in that original joy and wonder and hope. So today, on this quiet day, let us dare to hear God's voice rejoicing in us, and let us find the courage and desire to become more fully that which God calls us to be. A wonder of his creation, a sign of his kingdom. For God looked at all that he had made and saw that it was good. Thank you for joining us in this quiet day. I hope you'll join us for evening prayer, which is available on our live stream at 5:30 later today. And then Compline, a beautiful service of night prayer, takes place at 8:45 this evening. In the meantime, every blessing for your prayerful ponderings as we continue to journey together through this quiet day in this wonderful holy season of Lent.